Intel. Oh, I put the wrong title on there. That's on me. But this is Recruiting Intel. We'll leave it up. I'll switch it later. The Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook. That's Justin Wells. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, y'all have to go to InsideTexas.com. Use that first link in our description. Use that QR code you see there at the top left of the screen. Sign up for just $1. We got all the best recruiting intel. We also got great team notes, got a lot of great basketball and baseball coverage. It is March, so we are already talking a lot about hoops. Going to have some men's stuff, women's stuff going on. So make sure you join Inside Texas today. Just $1 with that QR code or with that first link in the description. Today, Justin, you and Charlie were out in Guyer out at Denton Guyer. There we go. This past weekend, talking to some of the top Texas targets at a camp. Camp circuit is here. It's a great way to get a lot of content. Put your name, put your face in front of a lot of these guys here in March, April, May, before official visit season starts. Get some intel, learn a little bit about where Texas stands kind of in the post-junior day, pre-spring visit period of the schedule. And a lot of these players that you saw, they're going to be taking visits all over the country during spring practices, whether on spring break or whether on a weekend, coming and checking out the Longhorns real soon.
Yeah, so, these camps in the past, they were usually filled with whatever that cycle was. It was filled with 4 and 5 stars, year after year. We used to have it at Arlington Martin, I felt like, for the longest time. Now it's kind of turned into a underclassman type camp. Whereas if you've got enough offers, you may not participate. You may show up, you may hang out, but you're probably not going to go through the drills. You're damn sure not going to go through the combine part of it. And so it's a little bit different now. But honestly, I like we know so much about the 27s already, just from being extensive with visits and everything that we do. I got to put my eyes on some 28s doing some stuff. And matter of fact, a couple 29s and a 2030. So you got to get a little balance of each level. But I'll say this, the 2027s that showed up and competed are true competitors. Those are guys like a Lathan Wissington and a Keadrian Redmond. These are guys that don't need to be at these combines. A lot of times these things are for exposure to get college offers. They already have those. They don't need to risk an injury, going through any sort of testing. But they were out there. They were competing. And I think that tells you something about different prospects. It's not a negative if you've got guys come out there like a Julian Caldwell and a Bryson Thrower that don't participate. Some of those guys are coming off injury. Some of them are coming off a track meet 12 hours before. But I really respect the juniors going into their senior year that show up to this event that have 30 offers in their backpack, and they don't act like it. They don't care. They just want to go out and get it. And the vibe I got with the 27s is that Texas is in most recruitments that they want to be in. But with 28s and 29s, Texas looks really good for some of these early kids. And that makes sense seeing all the success Texas has had over the last 3 or 4 years in the playoffs and in the draft. It makes sense that the younger guys on the come up they've experienced some of this Texas success, and they're loving them.
Yeah, and if you go to Inside Texas, Charlie Williams, over the course of the past couple of days, he had some intel on some 28s and 29s. At 2030 is Briggs Berlin. I know you want to get that mention in, but we'll save that maybe till the end a little bit. You did mention
we can save that for like another 4 years.
I know. That's going to be someone we're going to have to talk up a lot. But first, we got to talk about a player you did mention. That is Lathan Wissington from Waco Midway. You got to catch up with him. One of the I know I made the Kamar Wheaton comp not long ago, and you pushed back a little bit on it. But both those players definitely have a lot of speed, as you can see what's on the screen. What'd you hear from Wissington as Texas, under Jabbar Jaloop, probably looks to put together another 2 running back class?
So I got some confirmation. And I love your comps. That's why we do this. It's a lot of fun. Here's where he is not Kamar Wheaton, okay? This guy benched 300 pounds on Monday. He squatted 500 this morning. That's different. That's a lot different than Kamar Wheaton. Wissington, and this is coming off a 10.54 in track meet a few days ago. Now, Wheaton is different on that regard. You put Wheaton on the track, that's like a 10.2, 10.1 type kid. But anyways, Wissington is one of those kids. He looks like he's filling out. He's kind of densely built, kind of like Gary Johnson, the old linebacker from a few years back. But man, he's fast. And if he's running a 10.5 now, he's going to be running a 10.4 in a couple of months. He's a competitor. That's all he is. If he's not doing track, I asked him why was he out here at these camps when he's got Notre Dame and Texas and Oklahoma and Texas Tech and A&M and all these schools in the mix. He goes, I've been doing these camps my whole life. And every time I come, I learn something new that I didn't know before. I see something in a drill that I can use for something in a game that I hadn't seen before. So I'm never going to stop trying to gather knowledge. And I love that about Wissington. Jabbar Jalouk is all over this. Chad Scott kind of let this one slide a little bit. Jalouk came in and picked the shovel right back up and dug back into it. That's been huge. Notre Dame is in it. He really likes Notre Dame. Texas Tech is in it. He likes the Red Raiders. They offer everybody early. And so, but he'll be in Texas in the spring, and he'll be back in the summer for an OV. I love where the Horns are right now. And this is probably going to be a 2 running back class. If he's your floor, my goodness, that's incredible. He's going to be it sounds like an early July decision. And so we've got kind of a little 4-month window before, anything really shakes out. All Texas has to do, in my opinion, is stay the course.
Yeah, 2 running back class most likely. And, Texas is looking at guys like Noah Roberts from out in Arizona, Landon Williams-Callis. I think we've documented where Texas stands in that recruitment right now and just how other teams are ahead of them and what Texas needs to do to try to get back in the race. But you look at what Wissington's able to do on tape and erase a lot of different angles. It's hard not to think that he's still a very, very awesome running back prospect. Speaking of Texas Tech, got to talk a little bit about somebody currently committed to the Red Raiders. That is Adrian Redmond. Texas Tech has 2 defensive line commits from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. One's Jalen Brewster, Rivals #1 player in the country. Texas is, trying to stay in communication, as our Charlie Williams kind of posted the other day. Still not as much there as there is with Adrian Redmond from DeSoto, another Texas Tech commit. And I think we've talked about this before. Texas Tech losing Zarnell Fitch and also Redmond having family from all over the country has a lot of different players involved in this recruitment.
Yeah. So kind of to set the record straight, Texas would take Jalen Jalen Punky Brewster. He would take him in a second. Jalen is a no-brainer take. They just really like the upside of Adrian Redmond. They love the frame, the strength. How much he's grown in the last year, how much more he has to grow. I'm telling you right now, what is this? March 3rd? Adrian Redmond's going to sign with Texas. I think this is a flip. I think Texas is pursuing this kid twice as much. Like, this is a guy they're talking to on a regular basis. And honestly, before he committed to Texas Tech, we were kind of thinking he might have been Texas then. Him and his family have felt the Horns for a while. And Charlie is, like you said, Charlie's been all over this one. We're watching this one closely because this is the one Texas is trying to flip. It's not Brewster. It's Redmond, and for good reason. Like you said, you're sitting here watching clips right now, and it's easy to see. The last time they went to DeSoto for a defensive lineman, they did pretty well in that Byron Murphy cat. And so Redmond's not on that level, but my goodness, he's got the upside. He's got a lot of goodness to him. He still has schools that are recruiting him and trying to flip him, but it's Texas Tech and Texas, in my opinion. If he's going to flip, I feel like it's going to be the Horns. If not, I think he'll probably stick out his commitment and head to Lubbock. But this is a kid, you watch some of these clips. He doesn't have the pure natural strength of Brewster or that one-step quickness, that first quick step, but he moves you. He's got that size, that width, that 3-tech type of body that I think Texas would covet, and I think that's one reason they love Redmond so much. They are all in on Adrian. Big Juicy, as he's known by his close circle.
Yeah, I think that's how do you not take a defensive tackle named Big Juicy? That's just one of the ways I'm looking at it. That just automatically should bump.
That's an NIL deal.
Yeah.
Come to Juicy's. Meet Big Juicy. Get the Big Juicy. And you get a drink with the fries. Man,
Yeah.
this marketing thing is easy.
Speaking of marketing, got to show some love to Roback, RHOBACK.com. If you use that code TX20 and you're a new customer, you get 20% off your purchase. You see the Longhorn gear, you see some other stuff. I got an email this morning. They have some Texas Independence Day stuff. So I know that just happened yesterday, but they have a lot of Lone Star State gear available, golf gear, everything you might need, Longhorns, loungewear, joggers, everything. Go to roback.com, RHOBACK.com, TX20 gets you 20% off for all new customers. Last but certainly not least, Justin, here's someone you just actually wrote about earlier today. That is, as you can see on the screen, Julian Caldwell from Argyle High School, wide receiver in the 2027 class, a player that we know has seen Texas a lot over about the past year. He camped at Texas, has been to a ton of events, been to several games. One of the better talents in the DFW area in a really strong wide receiver class in state this year. What'd you learn from him on Sunday when you got to talk to him at Denton Guyer?
I learned that the Horns are still probably at the top of his list. The thing with Julian and this receiver class is going to be unique for Texas because getting Easton Royal last November, and for fans, that's the number one wide receiver in the country, top 10 overall. That gives you so much freedom to kind of have fun with the class because now you've got your bell cow. Now you just got to kind of fill in where you fit in, where the needs and stuff like that. You've got Julian Caldwell, Trey Moore, Jeremiah. Oh man, what's his last name? Out of Crandall. Jeremiah just slipped my man.
He's the Vanderbilt commit, correct?
Yes, and I don't know. I know these names like the back of my hand, and his last name just like I wanted to say Culpepper, but that's the linebacker you and I had been talking about that Texas offered. Jeremiah Douglas. Why in the world did I forget that? That's you said the wide receiver class is stacked. It's so stacked. I forgot the last name of one of them. That's how it is. Texas is having fun with this. Listen, if Julian Caldwell is in this class, that's fantastic. Because honestly, I think he's got a little bit bigger. He's measured in at 6 foot, a little over 6.5 feet. I think he's gotten taller. He's definitely got a little bit broader since we had seen him last year when we went and watched him and Melissa play. One team that's kind of creeping in. This is another Texas Tech kind of battle, but with SMU shooting their shot. Oregon, he really likes Oregon. Oregon, their GM talked to him the other day about NIL, and so they're trying to set that up, and he'll be there in the spring. Notre Dame is in the mix. Now, they were on the original top 12 that he dropped in November, but we just never heard any back and forth with the Fighting Irish. They have started to push and pursue more. And so that, to me, is another interesting take because Notre Dame has no problem dipping their whole foot in the state of Texas every cycle and getting a Jaden Greathouse, getting a Jadarian Price, getting a Kedron Young, getting a Javian Osborne. I could go on. Julian Caldwell is a guy that, if he's in the class, it's fantastic. If he's not, I don't think you've necessarily missed because you could get a Trey Moore. You could get a Douglas. There's really Bryson Thrower. That's the guy I probably should have mentioned first. Like if there's another top target in this cycle that Texas really, really wants to maybe pair with a Caldwell and a Royal, it would be Bryson Thrower. And so Caldwell is in that conversation. He's in that grouping. What he does the best, in my opinion, he is silky smooth. There is no wasted motion, no wasted energy. Everything is precise. He is very compact. You can tell he gets really good training. He gets really good work. Texas is there. They're really high on his list. He's another one that I think is going to be a late summer decision. I think he wants to get this over with before he begins his senior year. He didn't get to participate on Sunday because he was coming off something he was dealing with in track. But he told me he's actually going to be back on the track in the next couple weeks. He's going to try to get back up to season speed. But, hey, man, Julian's a fun kid. I'll say this, like he is such an easy kid to talk to. You can tell his family did a really good job because he is a yes, sir, no, sir. He looks you in your eyes. His hands are big. He gives you a good handshake. Again, if Caldwell is in this class and I'm a Texas fan, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, like I said, going to be real fun to track how in-state wide receiver recruiting goes and just wide receiver recruiting in general, because that's just a position that we've seen Texas balance. Handful of portal guys, handful of high school guys every single year, getting great players all the same, but losing some good players too. So it's a balance, and Chris Jackson and Steve Sarkisian seem to know what they're doing, especially with the guys they're looking for. Thank you all for watching. If you need more recruiting insight, you got to head to InsideTexas.com. use that first link in our description, or you can use that QR code there at the top of the screen. Sign up for just $1. We'll have recruiting coverage, team coverages. Spring practice gets going in less than 1 week, plus looking at all the other sports. Basketball postseason's also almost here. Baseball undefeated, having a great season so far. We've got it all over on Inside Texas, so come make sure you check it out.
I hope you didn't jinx it.
Well,
I have not said that. I haven't said the number out loud yet.
Hey, no, they're not going undefeated.
Joe,
going undefeated.
Joe, did you hear what the Baylor coach said about the Texas baseball rotation?
Maybe one of the best we've seen.
They're not something. I'm paraphrasing.
We'll see you next time on Recruiting Intel, the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.